Hello, we are here to discuss the Bazaars of Ubar, not Uber.
Ubar.
Ubar, yeah. You might take an Uber to go to the Bazaars of Ubar. But this is a game from Gray Fox Games that Miranda picked up at Origins, and they sold her on the concept of it and the upgraded components. So before we get into any further discussion on it, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because you don't want to miss out on a moment of these reviews.
Exciting reviews that we do.
And we're not, we'll wait a few seconds here if you want to go ahead and hit it right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
All right, moving on.
All right, so Rob, what can you tell us about Bazaars of Ubar?
So this is a 2023 release. Overall rank is 15,543. It's rated as 6.7. It plays 2 to 4 people in 45 to 75 minutes, ages 10 and up. Now it's designed by Tim Armstrong II, art by Nastia Lin. Produced by Gray Fox Games, as Randy mentioned. MSRP is $29.99. I found it as low as $19.99 on Amazon.
That's probably for the retail version.
Right, and miniature market at $29.99. I didn't see anything about the upgrade components.
Okay.
So that's all I saw was the retail price.
All right, so as far as this one, this is the deluxe version, and it comes with these metal coins.
Which are fantastically heavy-weighted. They're really nice coins.
But
it's by far the nicest part of the game, but there's not that many.
There's not enough of them.
Nowhere near. We played a 4-player game, and we ran out probably by round 2.
And there's no denomination on them. So as we were playing, we changed. It was like almost like we were playing poker and raising the stakes. Yeah. We took, okay, the golds are now worth 10, so everybody cash out your golds and get, So,
but then we ran out of the silver very quickly.
Again.
So yeah, we had to go to the poker chips.
So we went to the poker chips because it just was not going to work with the coins. So I don't know whether these are supposed to be 1s and 5s or 1s and 10s or
2s and 10s.
But either way, there's not enough of them.
Right.
So that was, one of probably the nicest thing. The most extraneous and silly is this. They got game trays to make these bottoms of these boats.
Well, yeah, with the boat itself looks very cool.
Yeah, the cardboard.
I love it.
Cardboard's fully functional. But the tray doesn't do anything. It doesn't.
It's not
add
a
anything.
Storage device, which is what it should be.
There's nothing that you put in, and it won't fit in the box if you keep the top on. So there's no purpose for this tray whatsoever.
Right.
I mean, to me, this is a big waste of plastic, and
which is unfortunate.
To get game trays to make it. That's what doesn't make any sense. I mean, it looks okay on the table. Being 3D. Yeah. But none of the rest of it's 3D, so it doesn't enhance the rest of the functionality. So I just didn't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it either. So
all right, comes with a little board. It doesn't fold nicely onto the table. No, it doesn't.
With it being so small too, you'd think that wouldn't be the issue. But man, it's bowed really bad.
I tried to turn it upside down and kind of pull it backwards, but I didn't want to tear it. Yeah. And I felt like, okay, this is getting a little risky, but it's still not flat. So that's a problem because your pieces may slide off as you get around the board.
You have wooden airships that are all cut the same, but they have various player colors.
Yeah.
And then you have, I guess, Randy, part of the upgrade was this little mini expansion that came with a die.
It came with a die.
And some special tiles.
Yeah, a lot of them, actually.
Yeah.
There was a lot. Yeah, that's one of the things that was confusing when we got it out was the components had counts on them, and we found 2 different scenarios. There was way more of these tiles than what we expected because of that.
And evidently there had to have been a misprint. Yeah. Because it was so confusing. I was punching out all the cardboard, and I had all these cloth. And it says in the book, there's supposed to be like 24 or something of these cloth. And I had 2 sets, one of 20, one of 24. And there's nothing to tell you which ones you use. So since it said 24, I found that it was in a special cellophane sheet. There was exactly 24. And we tossed those. And then when we realized the reason why is because these are 4 blanks or squares in length, whereas the misprint was 3. Yeah. So, I mean, it was pretty clear to figure it out that it was a misprint, but there's nothing to tell us otherwise. Yeah. Maybe it was on the Kickstarter page or something, and we just wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, and there was nothing about the die either.
Right.
And the die has multiple faces. Most of them are self-explanatory.
But there was one.
But there's one that doesn't match any image.
It doesn't match any image except for the scoring cards.
Yeah.
But those are for everybody. Not
Mm-hmm.
You don't get just one for yourself. So I think Randy looked online and figured out it was you get a coin.
Yeah, that was the final verdict that came back, and it was like, okay, but
the
nothing
symbol
that would
on
have
there
indicated-
matches the back of the card.
Yeah, it looks like this little kind of mosaic symbol, but the coins don't have that mosaic symbol. Maybe the cardboard ones did. I didn't pay attention because we didn't punch them.
We were confused, and with having to go online to look it up is always a bit of a pain.
Mm-hmm. So, try to get these out. So you need. That's the other thing is they give you this huge deck of cards,
Huge,
and you only play with 3 during the course of the game. So you're going to have a lot of variety because there's just no need for this many cards.
There really isn't.
For three cards to be put out. So. That's basically all you get is the cards. The cards, by the way, are smooth. There's no linen finish on them, and they're kind of flimsy.
Ton of cardboard. The cardboard's not too bad of a thickness, though.
Yeah.
So nothing to complain there.
Yeah, but it does have no linen finish, and it does have a look of a Kickstarter, like a first time generated company.
And we know that Gray Fox that's not the case.
No, but even the back of the board's just a plain black. It's,
nothing special.
Nothing special on it. I mean, the back actually has a finish, a linen finish. They put it on the wrong side. There's nothing outstanding about the components, and the things that are enhanced, I don't know why they're enhanced.
I'm always a fan of metal money.
Don't get me wrong
there.
I love the metal money. You just wish there was more because
Yeah.
it's not usable in the form that it's at with 4 players. With 2, you'd probably be all right.
Yeah, I think we were all right with 2. Because basically, once we got the chips out, 2 people used the chips, 2 people used the metal money, and we didn't have an issue from that point.
But this was just, I don't know who came up with this idea, but this is really silly.
Oh no! In theory, it looks nice if it had more function than just holding your tiles.
Yeah, you're not even holding the tiles with this boat. The cardboard.
Yeah, the cardboard is. So there's really no point to it.
So given all of that, I'm probably going to give this, because of the metal coins, I'll probably give it a 6.
I think I'm the same way because it's more like it's flash, not function.
Yeah.
So since there's really no function to it, I can't give it any more than a 6 either.
All right. Moving on to theme. So the idea is you're sky pirates and you're traveling around and you're maybe sky merchants.
More like sky merchants. Yeah.
You're going and trying to basically pick up different types of goods and then ultimately sell them to the next city destination you arrive at. So there's each city has its own market card. So the first one would go with the gold city, then the next destination is the red city, and then the final one is kind of the whitish blue city. And on there you kind of you'll know the prices going in, what they're worth, so you kind of plan your strategy on what you're going to collect.
Or try to collect.
But there's always one that is worth more than the others, and there's ones that are worth less.
But there's nothing to compare it to. So, it's like it'd be different if you had like this massive spreadsheet that showed you what trade goods are valued at normally. So,
the yellow is their standard pricing.
But the orange it's the same price as some of the yellows, so it's like, what's the diff?
No. For the silk, it's always 1 is the base price. For chests, 1 is, but it can go 0 or it can go up higher than that. So they're 3. So the ones down here are worth more naturally. They're worth 2, and the bottom one's worth 3. The scarabs are worth 3 normally.
All right. Well, I guess that kind of makes sense now. It didn't make any sense to me when we were playing it. It's just like I knew one was worth more than the others. That's the one I went after.
Yeah. So I like the way the tiles work. So basically, on your turn, you're going to choose a tile.
I really like the mechanics of the tiles.
The concept of this is really cool.
Yes.
So you've got a starter tile in the middle, and it's got an ability that says you can spend a time on the time clock to get some resources.
And everybody starts on the same tile.
Yeah. So that is going to be a tile that you can trigger by playing tiles around it. Mm-hmm. So when you're choosing, there's almost like a clock in the middle of a lot of the tiles. that will have arrows, 1 to 3 arrows pointing in different directions to say, trigger all the tiles up to 3 going in that direction. So in this case, like this one here, it has an arrow pointing to the right. So if I took that tile, put it here, I would trigger that tile plus the next one to the right. So I can trigger this one multiple times throughout the game. So you've also got some starting resources. You've got starting goods of one of each of the various goods, except for the scarab, which is the one space.
Right.
But your boat has a 4x7 grid that you can store in.
And you can only do one layer.
Yeah.
So if you have anything that goes outside of that grid, you got to toss it. Or pick something.
Yeah, you throw it overboard.
Throw it overboard.
Yeah. So that hopes that you're not throwing something like
on
the
somebody.
chest on somebody who's down on the ground below you. So, the thing is, when you take them, this works very much like Patchwork or any game that has got, like, whoever's furthest back gets to go first. It's got a time clock on it. So in this case, if I did take this tile, it has 2 time clocks that are pictured on it. So it's going to burn 2 time plus any clock that's touching it from an adjacent space. Well, this one here has a clock pointing to it.
Yeah.
So if I took that tile, it's actually going to cost me 3 on the time clock.
Just to get the tile. Not that you might have to spend more time to activate stuff.
Yeah. So in this case, I can spend a silk or a chest to get
like a lamp.
So if I look at the thing, the silk and chest are only worth 1. The lamp is worth 2. That's not a bad deal.
Right.
So if I took that one, I put it here, I'm going to spend 3 on my time clock, and I'm going to go 3 on the thing, and then I'm also going to trigger, so I would get to spend the silk in the chest, get a lamp, then I would spend another time on the time clock, and I would get a silk or a chest.
Right.
So I'd get one back to spend later potentially, or to sell if I get a good value out of it.
And unless you get a tile that points to another tile, that's the only time you'll activate that tile.
Yeah.
So the only way to activate it a second time is playing a tile that points to it.
Yeah. Now there are special ones, like there's ones that look like a die with a 1 on it, a pip in it in the middle. That one is actually, you choose any other tile and trigger it to activate. And
you're only activating the trade ability. You don't activate the arrow ability.
Right. So you can't like daisy chain.
Right.
And then you've got some like this one, it triggers everything adjacent to it in all sides.
And then there's one that looks at the diagonal as well. So
yeah, well, only the diagonal.
Yeah, only diagonals.
So it's a neat concept.
Yeah,
but it's very difficult to plan for.
Very, because like I through the course of my game, I started collecting a lot of carpet. Mm-hmm. But there wasn't any tiles coming out that could utilize the carpet, or the carpet was just one part of several other pieces you needed, and I wasn't able to get to the tiles that gave me the other tiles I needed. Yeah. So I was getting, there's like at least 3 tiles I got that didn't really do me a whole lot of good.
Not to mention, you can't choose the order you trigger things.
Yeah, you have to trigger the tile you lay first. Yeah. And then you go in sequence of the direction it's pointing.
Yeah. Or if it's got like the case where it's all 4 directions, you have to start north and go around the clock.
Yeah, so it wasn't user-friendly in how you'd be able to, I get to get this first, and then it comes into this, which would be a lot more fun.
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't know why that decision was made, because that seemed like it took away from the strategy, because now because if you don't have it, you just can't trigger it. So you're based on the luck of that arrangement.
Right.
And yes, you get to determine the arrangement, but you might...
But but the first time you play it may work really well. Yeah. But then the rest of the game, it's poop. So it doesn't work for you at all.
Yeah. So, but I did like the way the clock part.
I really like the timer, and I like the idea of these tiles and how they activate and how they work is really cool. But maybe if there's an element to where you can move them, or there's a special ability that allows you to move tiles, or being able to activate them in the order that you want, something like that, I think it would have made a big difference.
But yeah, basically you're going to play dropping off and selling at all 3 cities, and then the game's over. And whoever has the most money at the end wins. If there's a tie, whoever has spent the fewest movement after the final
last city
destination is the winner. So my biggest problem with this game is it was a one-trick pony. I felt like it felt like it needed more ways to score, and certainly I think the fact that you couldn't determine that triggering system was a big problem, because there's so many times I took a tile and I couldn't trigger anything with it.
Right.
And it just felt like that piece was missing, and I just finally started just focusing on what can I get that's going to cost the fewest amount of time, and not worrying
to be
about
able to get more action
as long as that gave me something.
Yeah.
But somehow Miranda still dominated the game.
Especially the last round, she really came out on top.
Well, I think it was the first round that set her up. She was like twice my value on
I
the
think
first round.
I had 12, and I think she had 16 or something, so it wasn't too far away. But that last one, she got like 20 plus coin.
Well, I did too.
I
dominated the last round. I think I made more than she did, but there was no way I was going to make up for that
from the other
that first round in particular. So so you're going to find that especially when you trigger the ones that have clocks on them, you're going to find maybe you only get 2 actions between
cities,
because it's just there's not that many spaces. So you're
and if you're too far ahead, you're waiting on everybody else.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of downtime to think about too. So.
And then also if you sell all your goods, you're going to end up with nothing to trade with. So when you get the next tile, you aren't going to be able to trigger anything because you don't have those.
And that happened to me a couple times. And again, that might have been just bad planning on my part. But I think that if we can move the mechanics around a little bit, that would have minimized that from that happening to me.
So I can't say. I mean, I think there's a good game
potential.
In here.
Yeah,
I think there's a good game in here. I don't think it fully manifested.
Right.
I don't think it's a bad game. I just don't think it's anything to write home about.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like it enough to where I want to buy it myself.
No. When we talked about it, I think that this is probably a 6 for me.
I don't know. I mean, I think it was okay, but it didn't give me any vibes other than the mechanic being really cool. That's the only thing. I think I'm a 5.5, just a little bit better in Catan.
Okay. So, that's our thoughts on Bazaars of Ubar. So if you've had a chance to play this, if you really like this game,
let us know what you thought about it. And, maybe we just completely got it wrong.
Yeah, because it just feels like there's something missing. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is. I think part of it is that I like games where there's a lot of variety of scoring, and it's all about them making money.
Right.
And then the other one being that you can't control that system, and you end up with actions that are just wasted. And the other thing is you have to trigger them.
Mm-hmm. You don't have a choice.
If you play it and you can trigger them, you have to
trigger it.
So, but you only trigger each one once when you play.
Yeah, I mean that might even help if I was able to trigger the tiles multiple times.
Yeah. Well, I think the once is fine. It's just the fact that I don't want to go play this tile because I'm going to end up having to trigger and get something that's worth less than what I got. And that makes no sense.
But that's still the best option on the board. So.
Yeah.
So that's our thoughts.
Yep. So, all right. Well, until next time, you guys keep being bizarre and we'll keep playing. Bye.